Let's dive into the world of Isekai anime, where the main character is anything but your usual hero. These MCs aren't afraid to get their hands dirty, whether it's by making shady decisions or just being downright villainous. Grab your popcorn, because these characters are not your average good guys. This is Amevis Anime. Support us by subscribing. Yes, hit the subscribe button now. Number 10. Re-Zero. Starting life in another world. Okay, let's kick this list off with Subaru Natsuki from Re-Zero. Subaru might not start as a villain, but man, does he get into some morally questionable situations. The guy is constantly dying and coming back to life, and while that sounds like a power fantasy, it leads to some dark moments. I mean, when your main character has to deal with so much trauma, losing his humanity feels like an inevitable side effect, right? Sure, he's just trying to save everyone, but sometimes the decisions he makes have, let's say, less than heroic consequences. You can't help but wonder if Subaru's ever thought about just taking a break from the whole hero thing and enjoying a nice cup of tea instead of throwing himself into the fire every time. Number 9. The Saga of Tanya the Evil. Now, let's talk about Tanya Degerekaf from the Saga of Tanya the Evil. This is a story about a salaryman who gets reincarnated as a little girl in a war-torn world. Sounds like a cute premise, right? Wrong. Tanya isn't interested in cute. She's interested in absolute power and destroying her enemies. She's ruthless, manipulative, and has no problem using her position to climb to the top, even if it means stepping on a few people along the way. Tanya doesn't care about morals. She's got a mission, and that mission involves dominating every battlefield she steps onto. You'll find yourself kind of rooting for her, but at the same time, you'll realize that this is a character who would happily crush you under her heel if it meant furthering her goals. Talk about a complicated relationship with a protagonist. Number 8. Overlord. At number 8, we've got Overlord, starring Ains Ul Gaon. This guy gets reincarnated into the body of his in-game character, an undead overlord who's literally the king of a dungeon full of monstrous beings. Now, Ains may not start out as an evil mastermind, but after a while, you begin to realize that he's basically just a villain pretending to be a hero. His interactions with humans. Oh, he's definitely not here to make friends. His strategic mind and cold demeanor make him a true threat, and he's constantly manipulating the people around him for his own gain. The best part, he's so indifferent about it that you can't even blame him. He's just doing what he was programmed to do. But hey, if you're an all-powerful skeleton overlord, who can really tell you otherwise? Number 7. Cautious Hero. The hero is overpowered but overly cautious. Coming in at number 7, we've got Seiya Ryuguan from Cautious Hero. Seiya is the perfect example of a hero who's so overpowered, it's kind of ridiculous. But here's the twist, the guy is way too cautious. We're talking about a hero who, despite being more than strong enough to defeat any enemy, spends hours and hours preparing for even the smallest threat. His excessive precautions and complete distrust of others make him come off as somewhat of a villain. Sure, he's saving the world, but he's also borderline paranoid and often treats everyone around him like they're incompetent. Watching him prepare for battle is like watching someone overthink the grocery list, except, with the fate of the world on the line. It's all a bit much, but honestly, it's hilarious. Number 6. That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. In at number 6, we've got That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime with Rimuru. Tempest. Now, Rimuru might seem like a nice guy on the surface, but don't let the slime form fool you, this guy has some serious villainous potential. As he grows stronger, Rimuru uses a combination of diplomacy, manipulation, and, let's face it, outright force to conquer and expand his domain. He's definitely more of an anti-hero, but at times, you'll wonder if he's the true villain of the story. He rules with an iron fist, and while his goals are often noble, the methods he employs, not so much. If you're looking for a slime who plays it by the book, well, Rimuru might just rewrite the whole damn thing. Number 5. Jobless reincarnation. I will seriously try if I go to another world. Rudeus Greyrat from Jobless Reincarnation. Now here's a guy who definitely blurs the lines between hero and villain. Initially, Rudeus is given a second chance at life in a magical world, and instead of embracing a new, righteous path, he lets his darker tendencies take over. Sure, he's a prodigy in magic, but he's also manipulative and at times downright creepy. Rudeus uses his knowledge from his previous life to exploit situations and people for his own desires, all while maintaining the facade of a well-meaning individual. His actions don't always line up with his supposed morals, which leaves you questioning whether he's really the hero of his own story or just a guy with a lot of power and questionable ethics. Number 4. The world's finest assassin gets reincarnated in another world as an aristocrat. At number 4, we've got the world's finest assassin, who's reincarnated as an aristocrat in another world. Yeah, you heard that right. After being killed by his own organization, this guy gets a second chance at life and is tasked with assassinating the hero of the new world. Instead of being some goody two-shoes hero, he embraces his old ways, using his skills as an assassin to manipulate people and get things done. He's a master of assassination, tactics, and deception, and he'll do whatever it takes to achieve his goals. You may not exactly cheer for him, but you can't help but respect his cold, calculated methods. Number 3. The Eminence in Shadow. Next up, we've got the Eminence in Shadow with Sid Kajanu. This guy doesn't want to be a hero. He wants to be the guy who pulls all the strings from behind the scenes. He goes as far as to create an entire secret organization, Shadow Garden, just to play out his fantasies of being a mysterious, all-powerful figure. He pretends to be an ordinary student, but underneath, he's pulling the strings and causing chaos. While he's technically the protagonist, his goal is to dominate the world without anyone realizing it. What makes this even better is that he doesn't care about good or evil, he just wants to be the ultimate shadowy figure, and he plays that role to perfection. Number 2. The Unwanted Undead Adventurer. Coming in at number 2, the Unwanted Undead Adventurer follows a guy who's reincarnated as a skeleton, and let me tell you, this MC is no saint. He's a former human who's now in a monster's body, and he's trying to figure out how to survive and thrive in this new world. But, as he grows stronger, he starts to use dark magic and methods that would make any other hero cringe. He's an anti-hero through and through, doing whatever it takes to protect himself and get ahead in the world. He's not afraid to resort to underhanded tactics, and he'll definitely make you question whether he's a villain in disguise. Number 1. Arifata. From Commonplace to World's Strongest. And finally, at number 1, we have Arifata. From Commonplace to World's Strongest. Hajime Nagumo might have started off as a weak, bullied kid in a fantasy world, but after a betrayal that leaves him to die in the abyss, he comes back stronger, colder, and much more ruthless. As he grows in power, he becomes less and less interested in the whole hero thing and more focused on using his newfound strength to get revenge. He doesn't care about saving the world. He just wants to survive, and if that means leaving a few bodies in his wake, so be it. You'll definitely get some anti-hero vibes from Hajime, as he's all about doing whatever it takes to become the strongest. So there you have it, 10 isekai anime where the MC isn't exactly your goody two-shoes hero. These characters blur the lines between hero and villain, and some of them, well, they might just be full-on villains in disguise. Which one's your favorite? Let me know in the comments below.